What the fuck are you doing?
I'm recording my profile. What's it look like?
This was your fuck ass channel or some shit. Cause you suck at the game anyway. Like, I don't know why you put all this work. Like, don't even listen to this dude. This dude is like completely garbage. He bricks every single time. He opens up with like all spell cards, and he can't use none of them. Why are you taking his advice?
With those positive words of reinforcement, we're gonna get this right out of the way. Starting with 3 Adamancipator Researcher, 3 Adamancipator Seeker, and 3 Adamancipator Analyzer. Now, these are all your main tuners. You've got 9 of them in name. They all have their own special summoning conditions. For example, Researcher can summon herself if you control a rock, Seeker summons himself if you control another Adamancipator, and Analyzer summons himself if only your opponent controls a monster. We're playing 11 names, counting these in the main deck, so you'll actually be able to meet these conditions quite often. The non-tuner names, we are playing 2 Adamancipator Crystal Dragite. The reason why we're only playing the blue one is because A, we need a water target for the Synchro Dragite, and because if it's summoned off an Adamancipator card effect, which includes both the monsters and the spell card, you draw 1. It's also a nice target for Elmirage too, 0 attack. Next up is our 3 Prank Kid Roxys and 1 Prank Kid Dropsies. These are your named targets for your tuner effects. If you use them for a link summon or fusion summon of a Prank Kid's monster, you banish 1, draw 1, and then summon him. And then if you use him, you summon him and gain 1,000. So that way you're only paying 1,000 life points for fusion for Vert Anaconda instead of 2. You can't summon Roxys because it's an Aqua, but if you were playing a little bit more of a janky build, you could go into Toad or Bahamut or do a lot of really fun things. This is your main target. With our other non-tuner names, we have the Quackimero engine, which is 3 Guardian and 3 Supplier. I'm playing 45 cards in this build. You can trim it down. You can cut down on some of the names. I play 11 names, so I can summon off of a tuner successfully. But you can get away with playing like 9 or even 8 if you so choose. This on summon will search for this, and if you just excavate this off of a tuner, then you don't have to worry about Nibiru or Ash. Onto our other extenders, we have 3 copies of Parallel Exceed and 1 copy of Plague Spreader Zombie. Parallel Exceed is really, really fun, especially given the last tournament that I had, which I posted about. You guys saw me open this almost every game, and it's just so good. You can go into Granite, you can link summon off of it as well. Plague Spreader is just another tuner. You can also just put back dead cards like another open Parallel, or if you open like Scythe or a Fusion Destiny material, you can put that back as well. Onto the non-fun cards. 1 Artifact Scythe, 1 Effect Veiler, 2 Nibiru, and 3 copies of Ash Blossom, and No Fun. These are mainly your cross-out targets, and this is for your Dagda combo. When Dagda activates, you'll get a card on a card or effect as well activated on the field. You can set Scythe. Standby phase, you can pop it with DPE. You can dodge cards like Dark Ruler, or you can even force them to use droplets in the standby or Chalice or Imperm or whatever. And it's just really, really good option going first. If you're going second, I would say to side out the Scythe for something like Lancia or Moral Attach if you feel so inclined. Because going second against a lot of decks and still trying to play the Scythe, it's not really viable. On to our last monsters, we have the Fusion Destiny package, which is 1 copy of Destiny Hero Celestial, 1 copy of Destiny Hero Dasher, and 3 copies of Fusion Destiny. This is pretty much simple, standard. Don't need to explain this. Onto our other spells. 3 copies of Adamancipator Signs. This is a really, really good card. It's a not once per turn monster reborn for rocks. It's not level restrictive. It just needs to summon in defense. So if there were any rock links, which are like, 4 in the game max, I think, I don't know. You summon the rock in defense, and if you summon Adamancipator by this effect, you can stack a level 4 lower rock at the top of your deck. So that means you will never miss an excavate if you activate this. For our defensive cards, we have 3 copies of Crossout Designator, 1 copy of Call by the Grave, and 1 Infinite Impermanence. You can also cross out this. You can cross out, which is pretty useful in the mirror match or in any other type of disgusting scenarios. And then Call by the Grave to just stop any other hand traps if you don't open Crossout. Extra deck is pretty simple. It's pretty self-explanatory. We've got 1 copy of Salamangreat Almirage. This is the worst case scenario recovery. You got Parallel in this in hand, you've got full combo still. 1 Prank Kids Meow Meow Moo. 1 Prank Kids Meow Meow Moo. This is just another way to start your extenders. If you open Roxy's, really, really good. And it's a rock earth, so you can actually summon Researcher with it. 1 Vertanaconda, 1 Dagda, 1 Halqifibrax, 1 Halqifibrax to summon off your Plague Spreader, 1 Prank Kids Dodo Doodle Doo. These go together perfectly. And this is also your win target for Raptite as well as your Parallel Exceed. 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, and 1 Access Code Talker. I know, stinky gold rare, I apologize. Most of this is pretty self-explanatory. For the links, you don't have a lot of room for flexibility. You can mix and match with synchros, but links, I don't think you honestly have the room to. Synchros: 1 Formula Synchron, 1 Adamancipator Rise and Raptite, 1 Dragite, 1 Borreload Savage, and 1 Baron de Fleur. The main reason you play these, like you have to play these, well, just mainly these 3, is because this is what your tuners go into. 2 and a 4, 2, like a 4 and a 4, or 2 and 4 if you're playing Doki Doki, which I don't anymore. It's just a dead normal summon. This is a DD Crow. This is a Compulse for any rocks you excavate, and it's a Spell and Trap Negate if you have a water in the graveyard. This is just your Omni Negate. I play Formula because I go into Halqifibrax. I'll summon this when I use up one of these negates, and I'll go into Baron. And for our last bit of playing, we have our last 2 cards in the extra deck: 1 Destroy Phoenix Enforcer and 1 Gallant Granite. This deck is really, really fun, and there's a lot of skill ceiling with this deck. And unfortunately, I can't really show you a combo. It's not that I can't, it's just that this deck relies a lot on RNG, so this is just stipulation. My side deck, in theory, this is what I would prefer to use. Remember, side deck is always personal preference. You don't have to go exactly with what I use. I use 2 copies of Drone Lockbird, 2 copies of Token Collector, 2 copies of Lancia, and 1 copy of Nibiru. We're already maining 2. Nibiru is a crossout target. If we're going second, we decide on the third, and that just makes sure that we open it. Token Collector is good for Sword Soul, obviously. Can't summon tokens, they can't nib you. And you can also synchro with this. If you like just get it on your turn and you summon the Researcher, you can just get rid of this very easily. It doesn't just sit there on your board being useless. And you can use it for Granite as well, because Granite is generic. 2 copies of Lightning Storm, self-explanatory. 3 copies of Dimensional Barrier, and 3 copies of Evenly Matched. In terms of side deck, and things you practically would use, this is good. You can use other things like Ice Dragon's Prison, Chalice, but for being practical and for the explosive first turn or second turn plays you need, this is fine. That's pretty much it. There's not much else I can say about this deck other than it's really, really fun. If someone like me can pick up this deck and top locals with it consistently, you guys can do anything with it. Please send in suggestions, send in ratios, send in alternatives you like, or just tell me that I flat out suck. It's been my Adamancipator deck profile. This has been Well Played Games. Stay winning.